10th, 1968, Smoking Joe Frazier is making the second defense of his heavyweight championship in his hometown of Philadelphia. Champion Joe Frazier is merely a 7-5 favorite as the fighters square off for round one. The challenger, Oscar Bonavena, in white trunks, adopts the style of a boxer in spite of his tremendous physique. That's Frazier facing camera, pursuing Oscar Bonavena. Good lefts by Bonavena. Bonavena keeping his hands high to protect against that vicious Joe Frazier left hook. Notice how Bonavena attempts to keep a certain distance between he and Joe Frazier and covers up there in close. Frazier the aggressor, always moving forward. 2 years ago, when Joe Frazier had been a professional for merely 11 months, he took on Bonavena in New York's Madison Square Garden. It was a 10-round slugfest, with Oscar twice sending Joe to the canvas with crisp right hands to the jaw. But Frazier's fighting spirit and marvelous condition carried him through to a unanimous 10-round decision over Oscar. Ever since that defeat, Bonavena has been screaming for a return match, claiming the 2 knockdowns he scored should have won the decision for him in their first meeting. But this time, the heavyweight championship is on the line, and Oscar Bonavena is the only man to have floored Smoking Joe in his entire professional career. Bonavena gets away from the ropes. He wants to try to stay in the center of the ring, where Joe Frazier can't corner him. Frazier always the aggressor. Good punches by Oscar Bonavena, and a good left by Joe Frazier. Oscar keeping that right hand high. A good right to the side by champion Joe Frazier. Good punches by Oscar Bonavena, and then he ties up Joe. Notice how Oscar tries to keep Joe away with that left. Frazier pumping in short punches. And Oscar comes back with 2 good lefts. Frazier still moving forward. There's the end of round one, which was scored evenly by all of the judges. In rounds 2 through 4, Bonavena boxed smartly, scoring with sharp jabs, and avoided Frazier's rushes. Here in round 5, Oscar is slightly ahead on points, but Joe is coming on strong. Joe's got Oscar pinned against the ropes. Oscar comes back with good sharp punches, and then ties Joe up. A left-right by Oscar, and Joe comes right back. It's very dangerous for Oscar to keep his back against the ropes against this Joe Frazier. Joe seems to be picking his spots here in round 5. Only 2 men have been able to go the full distance with Frazier since Joe turned professional about 4 years ago. Oscar Bonavena was the first, and then Scrap Iron Johnson managed to hang on for the distance 6 months later. Other than those 2, every other man that stepped into the ring with Smoking Joe went home early. They included Billy Daniels, Eddie Machin, Doug Jones, Buster Mathis, and 6 months ago, Manuel Ramos. All were stopped by this rampaging Joe Frazier, who hates to leave them standing. Good punches by champion Joe Frazier. A good left uppercut by champion Joe Frazier, and Oscar comes right back with 2 punches of his own. Oscar Bonavena, a bull of a man. A tremendous left hook by Joe Frazier. A left uppercut by Joe Frazier. They don't seem to faze Oscar. the pressure on Oscar Bonavena. And that's the end of round 5. Here in round 6, the pattern of the fight is exactly the same as the last round. Frazier coming in with hard punches, Oscar fighting back. A right and 2 excellent lefts by Oscar Bonavena. It just seems like Oscar has no respect for Joe's punching power. A good crisp right by Oscar. Bonavena comes in with a good left hook to Frazier's jaw. Rounds 7 and 8, Oscar won by a slim margin, but rounds 9 through 13 were all Frazier, with Joe punching away at the defensive-minded Bonavena. Here in round 14, it's still anyone's fight, as Joe has been unable to get in that one big KO punch he's always looking for. Frazier pinning Bonavena against the ropes. Both fighters seem to be very tired here in round 14. Oscar still keeping his right hand high, but getting a good right from champion Joe Frazier. Oscar comes back with a right that misses. Frazier pins Oscar right back into the corner. Bonavena established himself as the leading challenger for Frazier's heavyweight title with solid wins over Billy Daniels, George Chuvalo, Carl Mildenberger, Zora Foley, and Leotis Martin. Oscar has won 37 out of 40 fights, never has been knocked off of his feet, and has 28 knockouts to his credit. If he goes the route tonight, he will have finished 25 full rounds with Joe Frazier, a man who, even at this early stage of his career, is being compared favorably with Rocky Marciano. This is the first time Joe has fought in Philadelphia since he won a portion of the heavyweight championship by knocking out Buster Mathis 8 months ago in Madison Square Garden. Joe would love to knock out Bonavena here in front of his hometown fans. Both fighters appear to be very tired here in round 14, throwing punches sluggishly. Inside punches by both fighters as referee Arthur Mercanti watches closely. A good left to the body by Joe Frazier. A good right by Joe. That's the end of round 14, scored for Joe Frazier. This is the final round of this extremely hard-fought match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Frazier is still forcing the fight, as Joe would like to get that knockout here in round 15. Bonavena has to be the strongest man Frazier has ever fought. Throughout this fight, Oscar has taken some of Joe's best punches, and here in the final round, he's showing no ill effect from being in there with one of the hardest punchers in heavyweight history. Joe still looking for that knockout. Oscar keeping Joe away with that long left and comes in with a good right hand. A good flurry by Oscar Bonavena trying to capture the eyes of the judges here in round 15. The referee separates the two fighters. Frazier still pressing the fight here in round 15, but Oscar comes back with a flurry. Tremendous punches by champion Joe Frazier, still looking for that knockout here in the final round. The referee steps between the two fighters. belt. And there's the end of the fight. Both men are extremely tired as they wait for the decision. All three officials vote for champion Joe Frazier, and it's a very happy champion who congratulates Oscar Bonavena for the fine effort that pushed Joe to his limits. The only question remaining in the minds of fight fans all over the world is what's going to happen when Smoking Joe gets into the same ring with retired champion Muhammad Ali.